Yeah, so is the presentation visible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I'll start. So, good evening, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about Shriram Finance and its businesses. Uh, so, uh, sh- a little bit history about Shriram Finance. So Shriram Finance it is country's biggest retail NBFC in offering credit solution for commercial vehicles, two-wheeler loans, car loans, home loans, gold loans, etc. It's a pioneer in the NBFC industry with a strong rural presence. It is world's leading NBFC with 6.98 million private and corporate customers across India, and they also do personal and commercial financial services and accepting fixed deposits. Uh, Before we move on, a little bit history about the Shriram Group. So Shriram Transport Finance Company Limited uh, is a company under Shriram Group. So a history about Shriram Group. So R. Tyagarajan is the founder of the Shriram Group. He started the company in 1973 when he was employed in New India Assurance. He continued to being an employee in NIA for 15 years before he finally quit and became a promoter consultant to Shriram businesses. In the late 1990s, the RBI actually issued a press release cautioning people from depositing funds with Shriram as they doubted the integrity of the group. But uh, 15 years later, Government of India gave R. Tyagarajan Padma Bhushan, which is the third highest civilian award of the country for his contribution to trade and business in the country. So the philosophy of R. Tyagarajan is very interesting when I was reading about it. So he believes, he is not driven by wealth and one's position on the richest list. So he gave it all away and he shared its ownership in the organization he founded with long-term employees of Shriram. His reason was that it is the employees who create wealth since they ran the business, hence they deserve it. So if we look at various companies under Shriram Group, including Shriram Finance Company, the other companies are Shriram Automail Wealth Management Company. You will see one common thing between all the companies is that the CEO and MD and every decision-making position is held by employees who work with Shriram for more than 2 decades. So R. Tyagarajan actually has two sons, but he didn't give all he didn't give the power to his two sons, but he rather divided the company's ownership to its long-term employees. His two son, the oldest son has his own the engineering procurement business, and the younger son is part of Shriram's insurance broking business, but he works there as a chartered accountant, and he doesn't hold any decision making position there too. So it's a very interesting that a founder is of its employees who worked with him, who ran the business with him, who built the company with him. So I think it's a positive thing that he did this. Uh, moving on to the promoter shareholding. So the uh, the promoter and promoter holding, it is not actually owned by the MD and CEO, but the promoter holding is actually distributed between various companies of Shriram. As you can see on the screen, it is divided between Shriram Capital Private Limited, Shriram Value Services Limited, Shriram Ownership Trust, and Sanlam Life Insurance Limited. Sanlam Life Insurance Limited is a company based out of South Africa. So uh, I don't know why it is there on the promoter side of the shareholding, but that is there. So 25, they own 25% of Shriram Transport Finance Limited. Uh, so when we talk about key shareholders except the promoters, Piramal Enterprises Limited is their biggest key shareholder with 8.34% of shareholding. So Piramal Enterprises actually has a very big position in Shriram Group itself. They bought shares in Shriram Transport Finance and Shriram City Union Limited in 2013 to 14. I think the whole investment was around 4,500 crores in 2013 14. And now the investment the value of the investment is around 9,000 crores. The chairman of Piramal Enterprises Limited, Ajay Piramal, was also the chairman of Shriram Group when he invested in the company. In 2019, there was also some news that Piramal Enterprises exited Shriram Transport Finance Limited, around where they sold their whole stake for around 2,500 crores. But as we can, I so the news was that they sold their whole stake in the company, but as we can see on the screen, they still have 8% of the company, which is a big number next to the promoters. So it's the story of the key shareholders. Moving on to Shriram's businesses, they are one of the leading. As I spoke earlier, they are in commercial and passenger vehicle financing. They also take deposits and fixed deposits. They also accept those. They also do working capital loans, life insurance, and emergency line credit schemes for MSMEs. So their main business is lending business, and in lending business, their main focus is on commercial vehicles, truck financing, and small heavy vehicles financing, and they also do uh, financing of second hand bought vehicles too. So it is something that not much companies do of much companies do. They do much most of the companies don't do financing of second hand bought products, but Shriram also does that. uh, and their main focus is on commercial and passenger vehicle financing. So looking at their AUM breakup, their total asset under management as quarter 3 FY 2023 is 1,77,500 crores, and in which commercial vehicles constitutes 51% of the share. So, and their growth in AUM both year on year and quarterly growth is 13%, around 13%. The uh, Besides commercial and passenger vehicles, they also lend in construction equipments, farm equipments, MSME, gold, personal loans, etc. Moving on to the geographical distribution of AUM. So as I said, they have a strong rural presence. Most of the business they do is in rural areas. So as you can see on the screen, around 919 billion of their AUM is done in rural areas. So according to them, rural branches are those which has population under 10 lakhs. So uh, what I feel is that this classification is bit misrepresented. I think places which has population under 10 lakhs can also be considered as urban or semi-urban. Oh, sorry, my mistake. So I think there is a mistake here. The rural branches are those which has population under 1 lakh. So they have a strong rural presence in there. So their main business is in rural areas in Tamil Nadu. So their geographical presence, the founder is from Tamil Nadu, Chennai. So their main base is Tamil Nadu. So they have the most branches they have is in Tamil Nadu, and the least they have is in Manipur and Meghalaya. And their geographical presence is all over India. They operate all over India, and the total they have 2,901 branches, out of which 1,500 branches are in rural areas and 401 branches are only in urban area. So I think the way they conduct their business, I think the business model uh, is very interesting, and it is, I think it's profit making because in rural areas, the most, if someone wants to get a loan, the only option they have is to go to money lenders and uh, get money from the money lenders at high interest prices. If, for example, if we talk about farmers, if they want to have, if they want money for buying seeds or farm equipments, they have to go to money lender and get those money at high interest prices and stuck in that vicious cycle. So the Shriram gives option. Shriram is like an option to those farmers to buy, to have get loans at NBFCs also have a high interest rates, but it can act as a relief for the farmers or people who live in rural areas and wants to have a business. So I so the moving on, promoter, and talking about promoter and board. So, managing director and CEO is Mr. Y.S. Chakravarti. He is working with Shriram Group since 1991. She started working in Shriram Chits Private Limited in Andhra Pradesh as an executive trainee, and in 1998 he became the chief executive of Shriram Chits and was promoted to a position of executive director in 2004. So he has been instrumental in the expansion of branch network and overall business of Shriram Chits Private Limited. And as I said earlier, that why is the Tyag, why R. Tyagarajan was believed in, he believed in giving companies to those employees who worked hard for it. So this is the live example of it, that he worked with Shriram Group since 1991. So right now is the managing director and CEO of Shriram Transport Finance Limited. Moving on, Executive Vice Chairman Mr. Umesh Revashankar. So he is also part of Shriram Group since a long time. He joined in 1987, and he's associated with the Shriram Group for the last 35 years, and he has a long experience in financial services industry. So he has shouldered various responsibilities and worked in several key roles of business operations in Shriram Group. In Shriram Group. Moving on, Mr. Parag Sharma, who is joint MD and CFO. So Mr. Parag Sharma has been he's also part of Shriram Group for last decades. He worked with Shriram Group in various capacities and in various roles. He was responsible for introducing innovative techniques and methods of raising funds through domestic as well as international sources. So he is expert in handling matters related to finance and accounts, uh, corporate strategy, treasury management, relationship with rating agencies, etc. Moving on to the board of directors. So board of directors consists of 9 people, out of which 4 people are independent director, including the chairman. Otherwise, there is only 3 independent director, and 2 of them are nominee directors. So we'll look at them one by one. So Mr. Jugal Kishore Mahapatra, who is chairman and an independent director, is so he was an IAS from Odisha cadre of 1979 batch, and he also holds a master degree in economics from Boston University. So I think as he was a part of Government of India, and Shriram is a financial services company, so he helps with the matters of government he can help with the matters of the government. So that just justifies his position in the board. Moving on to Mr. S. Sridhar. He's an independent director. He's also involved in management and banking. So he was a awarded. So he was a banker, and he studied at the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, and then Jamnaral Institute of Management Studies. He was awarded the Lord Eldington Banking Research Fellowship for the year 1984 by the Indian Institute of Bankers. Moving on to Mr. Pradeep Kumar Panja, who is also independent director. So this guy is also corporate. He's also a banker. He retired as managing director of corporate banking branch of SBI in 2015, and he worked his whole life with SBI and gained rich experience in various areas of banking, including corporate and international banking. So this also is a very good addition for to the board of directors. Moving on, Mrs. Maya S. Sinha, who is also independent director. So she she's working as with another other companies as well. She's founder director of Clear Maze Consulting, which is a consulting firm in the area of PPPs since July 2013, and she also has a firm called CMC Skills Private Limited, engaged in implementation of government funded and CSR funded project for skill development. But I think if I have to give a justification for her addition in the board of directors, it is written in her experience that she was a member of IRS, which is Indian Revenue Service 1981 batch, and she worked in income tax department for 23 years and has in her career which spans of 30 years in government of India. So she can help with the tax regulations and can give advice regarding taxes to the company. That's that. Moving on. So Mr. D.V. Ravi, who is a non-executive, non-independent director. So Ms. D.V. Ravi is the vice chairman and managing director of Shriram Capital Private Limited. Shriram Capital Private Limited is also the holding company of Shriram Transport Finance Limited. So he is part of Shriram Group, the holding company of the financial services and the insurance conglomerate Shriram Group. So he also started his career in strategy and finance with Karnataka Oil Seeds Federation and then moved on to Shriram Group. So the last board of director is Mr. Ignatius Michael Villoen, who is a non-executive and non-independent director. So Mr. Villoen is a head of Credit Sanlam Pan Africa Portfolio Management South Africa. So he is the nominee director. Sanlam Life Insurance Limited, as we saw, is holding is in shareholding of the Shriram Transport Finance. So he's a nominee director for that company, and he has been associated with Sanlam Group since September 2003. So risk mitigation and underwriting. So the company has a structured system of structured system credit risk and other risks. So they do their due diligence research before giving out loans. They, in case of finance, they do take collaterals and give and research about it and then approve their loans. Information is compiled from all their departments and is examined and processed in order to analyze, control, and identify risk on a timely basis. So the information is presented and explained to the risk management company and the head of each department. So talking about IL and FS financial crisis. So a little bit about what happened. IL and FS Financial Service is a infrastructure lending company, and it fell short of cash and defaulted on several of its obligations. And the debt, so it has 100 of subsidiaries and it was sitting on a debt of more than 94,000 crores. So all these defaults and debt led a crisis which affected the NBFC sector as a whole. It affected hundreds of investors, banks, and mutual funds associated with the company, and it created panic among the equity investors as well. So, Shriram Finance during crisis. So, during the timeline, they didn't suffer as much from the crisis. The total income was a bit the total income decreased a bit, but their profit after tax was consistent and growing consistently too, from 635 crores in Q3 FY19 to 746 crores in Q4 FY19. I think the reason behind is that Shriram Group is a big conglomerate, and the transport finance company has a lot of backing, so it didn't affect them as much as it affected the whole sector. Uh, their asset quality also remained constant during that time. It was around 8.9% in Q1 FY19 to 8.29% the GNP of the company. So it remained constant. Their AUM was bit fluctuating. Uh, it was very low, and then it increased and decreased in the third quarter, and again it increased in the fourth quarter. So that was Shriram Finance during crisis. It was not impacted, as I said. And during Q4 FY19, they also raised $150 million from International Finance Corporation, who is a part of World Bank. So their GNP, their asset quality also remain constant, and since then their asset quality has actually improved. Right now, their GNP and NNP are 6.29% and 3.20% respectively. They didn't get any warnings from RBI as such, so it was not a very bad time. It was not a good time, of course, but they didn't suffer from the crisis as such. So forensics, I actually haven't pasted the sheet. I'll upload it separately. So I did the forensics and it was 72.4%. It was it is a good score, I'll say. But and the areas of concern are that in their board of directors there are nine directors, and out of which only four are independent directors. And if we even if we even if like if we exclude the Mr. Jugal Kishore Mahapatra, who is the chairman and an independent director. So I don't know how his designation is chairman and an independent director. I haven't checked if he has any holding in the company. So if we exclude him, there only remains three independent directors. So the number of independent directors is less than 50%. Their auditing firm is not well known. It is KKC and Company LLP. So I did a bit of research about it, and their the auditing firm, it's a big firm, but uh, it is not a very well-known firm as such. If we compare it to their peers, and uh, actually in the KKC and companies became their auditing firm in FY 2022. Before FY 2022, there were other two auditing firm who was doing auditing of the company. Their RPT to sales ratio is higher than 25%. So uh, their sales is around 19,000 crores, and their RPT is around 70 7 6 6 5 to 6,000 crores. I don't remember the number exactly, but it is around 5 to 6,000 crores. So it's a area of concern, that their RPT sales ratio is higher than 25%. Uh, so they also, one thing I noticed was that unsecured loans were given to the other companies of the group, and not only companies which is involved in financial services. They have given unsecured loans to the companies like Shriram Automail, which has nothing to do with financial services. So that was another thing that I noticed. Uh, the key matrix. So these numbers are according to the latest quarters. So sorry, these numbers are the last 4 years. The last 4 years, these numbers are from last 4 years. So their AUM has been consistent, and it is growing steadily, slowly but steadily. Their CAGR is around 12% in the last 3 years. Their PAT, it decreased in FY20 and 21. One of the reason that I can give is that COVID was COVID was in its peak in FY20 and 21, FY21. So their main their main lending business is in commercial vehicle lending business. So due to lockdown, we can say that they might have faced difficulty in doing they might have faced challenges in commercial vehicle lending, because people are not buying anything. So who will they give loan to? So that can be the reason for the dip in the profit after tax. In FY 2022, they recovered very significantly, having profit of 2,708 crores. Uh, their asset quality has also been going down since FY19. It was 5.65%, and now it is 3.67%. Their NN, sorry, uh, their NNPA was 5.65%, and their now it is 3.67% in FY 2022. Same with GNPS, there it was 8.37%, and now it is on 7.07%. Their ROA and ROE has decreased significantly since FY19. In FY19, their ROE was 17.52%, now it is 11.14%. And same with ROA, it was 2.33%, and now it is 1.88%. One reason for decrease in ROA, I I can tell is that their borrowings have increased since FY19. So they are not doing capital CWIP as such, but their borrowings has increased from significantly from, I think, according to their September 2023 numbers, their in Screener it was their borrowings were are around 125,000 crores in FY19 it was it was close to 80,000 crores. So in 4 years, we can say 4 years and 6 months, we can say the increase is of 40 around 45,000 crores of increase in their borrowings. So and they have not been able to efficiently use those borrowings in increase in efficiently using their assets. So the number has gone down. Their return ROE is also gone down. So yeah, it's the same thing that I said. Shriram AUM has been growing steadily, but their profits have dipped during 2021 period, suggesting that their expenses have grown in these years. Yeah, their expenses have also grown in these years, especially their employee cost. Their employee cost, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was a significant increase from around uh, 10 to 20%. It was around 10 to 20% increase in last 2 years as such, and their ROA and ROE has significantly decreased over the years as their asset quality has improved on the other end. So the future outlook, I have made some positive and negative points for the company. So so as Shriram is in majorly sorry is majorly in commercial vehicle lending business, so they hardly have any competition, and with the economies of scale that they possess, the entry of new competitor becomes further more difficult. With this background, it gives more room to STFC to have a lending discipline. So, and also they do refinancing of second-hand bought commercial vehicles. So it is so the lending business in commercial vehicles is theirs to have only. So there is hardly any chance that they will face any competition in that sector. Actually, I looked at their market share in commercial vehicle lending business, and it is around 25 to 30%, which is a large number. So another is their relationship-based model. So they have 30,000 employees as of 2020, and the field officer who are responsible for loan disbursement and collection. So they kind of maintain a personal relationship with clients. So it helps them to have a good word of mouth marketing. So marketing with clients. So the relationship based model also help with their businesses. The negative is that the same that commercial vehicle space. So it is a high leverage is correct with the characteristic of the business. Any adverse impact, it can have an adverse impact on the industry, like COVID, as I said, and we also saw that in 2021 during COVID, their profit decreased due to due to COVID. So it can be a huge distress to the company, and also new government regulation around commercial vehicles can uh, can help them too, but can also uh, give it also can give difficulties to the businesses. Also, the industry is cyclical in nature, with new commercial vehicle demand going up and down with how the economy of the industry is having, how what is the infrastructure of new commercial vehicle is. So it depends on that. So it can face the industry can be cyclical or is cyclical in nature. So this is the future outlook. Yeah, and that's it.
Wow, very good presentation. It's very detailed.
Thanks, Pranav. Great presentation.
Thank you.
So I have added some things, some links which I found regarding some of the penalties and on Shriram Transport and Shriram City Union Finance. Maybe these could be not very important, but you can just add it, go through it and just add it. It's in the chat.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'll do that.
All right.
So, a couple of questions, Pranav. Is Mr. Tyagarajan no longer active in the company?
No, he's not active in the company as in a decision-making position. He's not active.
Okay, and none of his, so nobody from his family is part of the board or part of the KMP, is it?
Uh, uh, as much as I read, so he has two sons, and the youngest son is working in Shriram's insurance businesses, but in a he's not
Hmm.
the CEO or MD. He's not a decision making, and the eldest son
Hmm.
is own business of his own. So none of so I
Okay.
actually I read one of his interviews, and he said that I don't want to involve my family into the businesses. I just want to give the whole group to my employees who worked for me these whole years. So that was his philosophy. So none of his family is majorly involved with the company's business.
Hmm. Okay, okay. And the holding company that, the companies that own Shriram, so for example, 25% promoter ownership is between three or four Shriram companies. Have you checked who are the shareholders of those companies? For example, the holding company that holds 17%, who are the holders or promoters of that company? Like, who is the ultimate shareholder? Have you checked that?
Uh, no, I haven't checked that. Actually, Shriram Capital Private Limited has 17.34% of shareholding, and the CEO of
Yeah,
Shriram Capital is the board of director in the transport finance in this company,
yeah,
the
he's the vice
transport
chairman
finance
or
company.
something you said.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But vice chairman doesn't mean that he's the promoter of that company. So we need to find out, who owns that company. So basically, what we are trying to find out is, are there any individuals who is the ultimate individual who's holding Shriram Finance through that Shriram Capital firm? Is it Mr. Tyagarajan's family or is it some other people? So that is something. This was also the case with Shantanu's company, Mass Financial, which is also owned by a company. So we need to find out who's the ultimate shareholder. So cool. I will pass on that feedback in this. And were you able to figure out who their major competitors are in the commercial vehicle financing space in terms of other NBFCs?
no, I haven't
Because you
checked that.
haven't done. Yeah, because I think you missed a couple of slides on one is differentiation and one on competitor benchmarking. So competitor benchmarking is not included, so that needs to be included.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, good presentation, Pranav. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, from my point of view, also very good presentation. Cool. I can stop recording.
Thank you.